My eggs, bread, and cheese diet is really coming true. They're so crispy. Mix all those cheeses together. Then you're gonna take your bacon. If there was one diet I wouldn't mind being on for the rest of my life, it would be the bread, egg, and cheese diet. Doesn't that sound like a dream? Well, a strata is actually just that. It's bread, eggs, and cheese, all made into a beautiful casserole. But today I'm gonna totally elevate a strata. And instead of using standard old bread, I'm going to be using croissants. They're gonna soak up all that egg mixture and all the cheese and just add a nice buttery dimension. And then I'm gonna be adding caramelized onions and bacon to it and topping it with chives. This strata is crazy good, and it's gonna be so perfect for your next brunch party. So let's get started. We have our croissants here. Eric makes fun of me because I say croissants, croissant. So I'm trying to not be weird and say croissant. So I have six, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 croissants here. And I'm just gonna tear them up into like fourths in this baking dish. This is a 9 by 13 baking dish. And I also greased it so that the strata won't stick to it when you try to lift it out. So we're working on our final croissant. I can't say it right. I don't know what it is. Whatever it is, I'm gonna place these guys in the oven at 350 for about 10 to 15 minutes until they get nice and toasty and golden and kind of crisp up. And that will be the perfect base for our strata. So in my pot here, I have a little bit of butter and I have some yellow onions that I sliced up. And all you have to do for caramelized onions, it's really easy, is you're just gonna turn the heat on about medium-high heat and let them go for about 15 to 20 minutes or so, stirring them often so that they caramelize really evenly in the butter. And if you haven't done your bacon yet, I already did my bacon, so I'm ahead of you all. I have some delicious bacon here that I chopped up and just sauteed until it was nice and crispy. See you soon. Our croissants are nice and toasty. They've gotten a little bit more golden, but they're really crispy, you can hear. So I'm just gonna pop these over here to let them cool. And while they're cooling, I'm gonna finish off my caramelized onions. Look at this, nice and steamy. That took about 15 minutes, and you finish it off by, it's like really aggressive, adding just a splash of balsamic vinegar right to the caramelized onions. Give them a nice stir. And you're gonna let these finish cooking off for about 2 or 3 more minutes just to let the caramelized onions really absorb that balsamic. So I have my toasty croissants here that are just cooling a touch so they're not super hot. I finished my caramelized onions. Those are in the fridge on a plate really nicely spread out just to cool a touch so they're not boiling hot. I got my bacon here, and now it's time to work on our egg mixture. So I have here some whole milk, and I'm doing this in a pitcher because you're gonna be pouring this mixture over the croissants, and it's just easier if you have a pitcher instead of a bowl. And I'm going to add to it 8 eggs, 2, 4, 6, 8, okay. Wanted to make sure I did that right. So I'm just gonna go ahead and crack my 8 eggs right into the milk, and we're gonna make an egg slurry. Submerge your whisk. You're just gonna give this a good whisk together to combine the egg with the milk. I don't know why I thought that was so funny. Oh dear. So once this is all combined, we're gonna add half of this cheese mixture to the egg and milk mixture. It's all whisked together. Try to say that 5 times fast. It's a pretty color. And I have here my cheeses. So I have Parmesan Reggiano. You can also sub just regular Parmesan or Grana Padano. And then I have some fancier Swiss cheese. It's called Emmentaler or Emmental. You can also use Jarlsberg. Funny names, but they're just really nice, nutty, and stringy Swiss cheeses, and it's really, really, really good with the croissants or quiches or things like that. It's just so, so good. So I have 3 cups of that Emmentaler, and then I have 1 cup of Parmesan, and I'm just gonna mix all those cheeses together. And then I'm gonna add half of this cheese here to my egg and milk mixture. Okay, so I'm gonna take a big spoon and I'm just gonna mix the cheese right into my egg mixture. I think I'm gonna add a little splash more. So I'm giving this a final stir, and I'm going to pour the mixture as evenly as possible on top of my croissants here, and they're so, so crispy that they're going to really, really stand up to this mixture and not turn into this giant mush pile. So I'm going to kind of stir as I'm going here because you don't want the cheese to like really, really settle to the bottom. After all your egg mixture is poured on your croissants, it's time for our carmies. And of course, you just gotta try. I could eat these all by myself with nothing else. So I'm gonna take a spoon and I'm just gonna spoon the carmies over the top of the croissants. After you've evened them all out, then you're gonna take your bacon. Ooh, it's nice and crispy. You want it to be really crispy, and I'm gonna take my hands, why not? And you're just gonna give it a nice sprinkle all over the top of your caramelized onions. Last but definitely not least, cheese. You're gonna add the rest of your cheese right to the top, and you can just imagine how crispy this cheese is gonna get when we put it in the oven. So it's time to go wash up, and it's also time to put this in the fridge for at least 30 minutes. You need to give it at least 30 minutes so that the croissants have time to really, really absorb the liquid, or you can actually do this overnight. So I'll see you in 30 minutes. It's been 30 minutes. I've been waiting patiently. And the last step here before I put it in the oven is to just sprinkle some fresh chives right over the top. Add a little pop of green, a little pop of onion. It's just so pretty. All right, so this is gonna go in the oven at 350 for about 45 to 55 minutes. You wanna cut open the middle and see whether the egg is runny. If it's still runny, it needs a little bit more time. You can also tent it with foil towards the end if it starts getting a little bit too brown. I'll see you soon. My eggs, bread, and cheese diet is really coming true. And can I add bacon to that? How amazing does this look? It looks so ridiculous. The cheese has caramelized on the top and the bacon got even more crispy. I came prepared with a pre-cut piece. Look at those layers of croissant. I'm gonna say it how I wanna say it. Let's give it a try. The croissants make it buttery. The egg binds everything together. Cheese is salty, crunchy. The bacon is smoky. The caramelized onions take it to a whole nother level. Check this out on tastefullygrace.com. You won't regret it.